The news anchor's voice was background noise until I saw her, my wife, on a sunlit deck, champagne glass in hand, laughing. Next to her, a man with his arm around her waist. Behind them, her sisters, all smiles. The camera caught them mid-toast, the sea stretching endless and blue behind them. The headline read, "Luxury Mediterranean Cruise Sails from Barcelona." I blinked. Once. Twice. My phone was on the nightstand. I checked the banking app. A fresh charge. Cruise trip. $8,742.15. On my credit card. I called her. "Where are you?" A soft breath. Then, "At work." I smiled at the ceiling. A thin, deliberate smile. "Enjoy yourself," I whispered. I ended the call before she could respond. And in that moment, still hooked up to monitors, IV dripping into my arm, I made my decision. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to end it. The heart monitor beeped slow and steady. My pulse was calm, but my mind wasn't. The images replayed in my head. Her head tilted toward him when she laughed. His hand on her lower back like it belonged there. Her sisters, accomplices in their silence. For months, I'd told myself she was just working late, that the weekend girls' trips were harmless, that the new perfume she wore wasn't for anyone else. But lies have a scent, and now I could smell them everywhere. I thought of the dinners I cooked when she said she was too tired to go out, of the bills I paid without asking, of the promises we made in a church she'd probably forgotten. And now she was on a deck chair with someone else, spending my money. I let the shock sink in, not as a wave, but as a stone, heavy, cold, settling deep. I didn't want her to know I knew. Not yet. I was discharged 2 days later. She didn't visit. She texted once, "Hope you're resting, I'm swamped at work." I didn't reply. Instead, I started pulling threads. Quietly. First, her email. She'd logged in on our shared tablet. It was all there. Flight confirmations, cruise itineraries, spa reservations for 2. The man's name appeared more than once. Then her credit card statements. Hotel charges in cities she'd never mentioned. Jewelry purchases that never found their way home. Her phone was trickier. I waited until she left it unattended in the kitchen. One photograph was enough. Her in a hotel robe. Him shirtless behind her holding the phone. My hands didn't shake. I copied everything. Dates, locations, faces. I still didn't confront her. I needed more. I called a friend at the bank. He traced the cruise payment to her account after she transferred the money from mine. Unauthorized. Easily provable. I began to see the shape of my revenge. Not loud, not dramatic. Surgical. By the end of the week, I had enough to ruin them both. She returned on a Sunday evening, smelling faintly of salt air and expensive wine. "How's work?" I asked. She smiled, setting her bag down. "Busy. You?" I slid an envelope across the table. She opened it, pulling out photographs, printed emails, bank records. Her smile froze. Where did you—" I didn't answer. "It's not what it looks like," she tried, voice trembling. I leaned back in my chair, watching her flip through the evidence like maybe the pages would rearrange themselves into something less damning. She looked up, eyes wet, searching for anger, for shouting, for anything she could work with. I gave her nothing. The next morning, I made 3 calls. First, to the bank, filing a fraud report for the cruise charge. Account frozen. Second, to her employer. Anonymous tip about misuse of company time and funds, supported by time-stamped photos of her abroad during claimed work hours. Third, to her boyfriend's wife. She answered on the second ring. I didn't need to say much, just enough for her to know. By midday, my wife's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She stood in the living room, pacing, muttering into the receiver, her voice rising in panic. I sat on the couch, coffee in hand, watching the performance. When she finally looked at me, her expression wasn't guilt, it was fear. Good. By evening, she'd packed a bag. She didn't say goodbye, just slammed the door behind her. I didn't follow. The apartment was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like clean air after a storm. I walked to the window. Outside, the city went on as if nothing had happened. People hurrying, laughing, living. She'd think I wanted her gone. But the truth was simpler. I wanted her erased. And now, she was. The monitors in the hospital had measured my pulse when I saw her on that screen. Calm then, calm now. Only difference, this time, the line was flat.